Yahoo announced it plans to eliminate as many as 1,700 jobs in an effort to cut costs. CEO Marissa Mayer was tapped in 2012 to revitalize the company.
But she's consistently faced criticism from investors, and some are calling this a last-ditch effort by Mayer to turn the company around and save her job. In an interview with CNBC, Mayer denied that the layoffs indicate a drastic change in direction for the company. Listen.
Out yesterday. How do we make Yahoo the very best version of itself that we can? And that's being focused on discovery, being the digital information guide that we've always been, and really thinking through how can we inform, connect, and entertain our users. And so it's much of the same focus we've had in the past, but even more concentrated into particular areas. Mail, search, Tumblr as global platforms, news, sports, finance, and lifestyles as verticals that will offer in particular geographic areas. And making Yahoo the very best version of itself we can for our users, for our advertisers, is really what's going to serve our shareholders best. And that's why.
CBS News contributor and editor for the Yorker.com, Nick Thompson, is here. You know, she says, oh, we're going to do exactly what we've been doing in the past, but what she's been doing isn't working.
Right. She's going to be doing exactly what she's been doing in the past with fewer people. The criticism of Yahoo since the day she took over is that this is a company that needed to focus. It needed to do a couple of things really well, and it hasn't been able to do that. It has not been able to make the transition into being a mobile, social, innovative company that everybody hoped it would.
So the question is, of course, she has been in the past said that she would not divest some of the core holdings of Yahoo. Now she says she's open to it, spinning off some of those assets to other companies, perhaps her stake in Alibaba. That might help the company. You streamline the assets, you streamline the company. Maybe that boosts the stock price.
Well, it's funny, right? So Yahoo has a bunch of things going on right now. So Yahoo is both trying to make its core business better. It's trying to do that as hard as it can, and that's something Marissa Mayer talked a lot about in the earnings call. It's also effectively put parts of itself up for sale and all of it up for sale, and then it's trying to deal with the tax implications of its Asia holdings, which are by far the biggest part of this company, at least as valued by the stock market, and have been for years. For years, this thing we think of as Yahoo, the website, the apps, all of that has been valued at almost nothing. Now it's about 12% of the company's value, and the rest has been in their Asian holdings. So a lot of whether Marissa Mayer is a success or not is how she manages the Asian assets. But of course, what we're focusing the most on is Yahoo itself.
So what kind of a message does that send to investors, though, when she comes out and is like, she's talking about Tumblr?
So Tumblr is a big problem for the company. Tumblr was a huge opportunity. They spent, I think, $900 million for it, and they spent it at a time when the internet was making this huge transition from desktop platforms to social, right? It was the kind of thing they needed to do. But they also took a write-down on it yesterday. So it clearly hasn't worked at all. So it's a big failure. Either they bought the wrong company, or they managed it the wrong way, or something else didn't work out.
And laying off all these people, I mean, that solves there's a cash flow problem that maybe that solves in the short term, but in the long run, that doesn't do anything to help them refocus their mission and figure out who they're going to be in 2 years.
Right, unless what they do with the layoffs is they decide we're actually just going to do this one thing. We're going to decide that we're going to be the company that reinvents search, and somehow they get ahead of Google in mobile search, right? If they can do that, that's incredible. That would be wonderful. But you think about Yahoo, right? What do you use Yahoo for? Well, people don't really use it for a lot. Maybe it's your mail. Maybe you do fantasy sports there. Maybe if you don't really know how to use your computer, it's, you know, the portal you come in through. But nobody's using Yahoo on their mobile phones, and they haven't figured out how to get there. So somehow they have to do that. They have to figure out something brilliant where you're like, oh, I want to use Yahoo for that. I really want to search with Yahoo.
Speaking about those cuts that Contessa was talking about, 11,000 people cut from the workforce. Yahoo's workforce will be 42% smaller than it was in 2012 by the end, and all these cuts happened. This is a company that was being touted as being able to buy Google at one point, or Facebook, right?
Yeah.
But now, I mean, is this a little too late?
Well, that's a hard question. It is too late, I think, for Yahoo to become one of the huge players of Silicon Valley, the thing that we thought for a long time. The question is whether it's too late for Yahoo to become a solid, profitable company, or to be turned into a profitable, useful asset for somebody else. And it's certainly not too late for that. But the days when you talked about Yahoo in the same sentence you talked about Amazon, Microsoft, Google, Facebook, those days are over. The days when you could buy Facebook, yes, that has passed.
Long gone.
In the last few years, there's been a refocus from Yahoo on providing content, on generating content, not just aggregating it as well. Maybe one of the most famous acquisitions was Katie Couric, the famous former face of the Today Show and of CBS News, going to Yahoo. It was a big deal in media circles. Has that worked in any way, shape, or form?
Well, I don't think the content has been a total failure. There are bits of content that are quite interesting and are quite good. They started a bunch of magazines that are, some of which are working. Their political coverage is quite interesting. They do break stories. But overall, no, it has not been a success. They're shuttering some of the magazines. I don't think anybody would say that Katie Couric has brought in the same amount of money that she's paid. Are her shows good? People like them, but is she worth the millions and millions and millions of dollars that was paid? Probably not a great investment.
Is Marissa Mayer?
Well, that's another problem, right? It is very bad at a time when you're laying off people to have made $365 million or whatever it is she's made over the last 3.5 years. It just doesn't look good. It looks like you're pocketing everything and you're taking all the winnings from this company while you lay everybody off. So that is going to be bad for morale and it's bad for the company.
Nick Thompson, thank you so much for stopping by, Nick.
Thanks so much, Vlad. Thanks, Contessa.